Welcome back. So that last video was on persuasion and why you should not use it and why you should help people instead as a business owner, because that's the way you attract people, that's the way you make money. However, helping in context of business is a tricky area because charities help people, the government helps people, we help our family and friends. But when it comes to business and helping, the two concepts don't really go together. But that is really the key to making money in business, is to develop relationships and to help people. And one of the best ways you can help somebody in business is through the first thing they see, which is your website. So if you have articles and videos and even advertising events on your website, it's helping people, it's giving information to people for free. It's showing you're committed when you have articles about your service or the industry. It is really putting yourself out there and showing that you care, I suppose, and that you're helping. And the other way you can help people is by having a short phone conversation with them. So when they call you, you don't just say to them, what do you want? What can I sell you? You ask questions and you're curious, maybe even a bit vulnerable, and you try and help solve their problems. So you're constantly helping. There is a problem here with helping, is that you actually need to get their money at some stage. So, but that's okay, because there are limitations that we can put on helping. So there's two types of helping I've mentioned there. One is helping with articles, videos on your website, and the other type of helping is helping when you talk to somebody on the phone. Let's look at the first one, articles. You can write a lot of articles and give them away for free on your website. The limitation there is that, generally speaking, no matter how many articles you write, the customer is always going to have questions. So if you write articles, for example, on how to build a great website, and they're very helpful articles, well, the customer is probably not going to go away and build their own website, because it's a very technical thing, and you've just proved yourself as the expert by writing all these articles. So the limitation is in the customer's mind. Now let's flip that around to where you're giving free advice on the telephone. Somebody calls you up and you're talking to them, say for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and you just keep on helping them to position yourself as an expert. And this second type of limitation is the limitation that you as a business owner do on the phone. So I work with helping people with sales and marketing. So if you call me up, I'll look at your business and I'll give you ways on how I think you can make more money. But after 5, 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to stop the conversation and I'm going to say, am I helping you? And if you say yes, well then I'm basically going to say to you, would you like to pay for a session? Would you like to book in this week or next week? I'm going to ask for the money in a roundabout way. So that's a limitation I place on the time of the conversation we're happening. So summing up here, just help with your articles and help on the phone, and place those two limitations on helping. And that's the way you'll be perceived as an expert, and that's the way you help people. So now let's dig a bit deeper into having articles on your website and how you go about doing this. And just before we move on, you can also have videos, which is what we're doing here, which is the next level. Videos are basically just a talking head from an article. So you can write an article and then put it in video form by just talking about it like I am now. The beautiful thing about having a video is when you're a service provider, you want to meet the customer. This is your objective, is to meet the customer. And with a video, with what I'm doing now, you're already meeting me in a way. So you're influencing them to call you on the phone or shoot you an email to get in touch so you can sell them something. So a video is basically an article that's developed to the next level, and it's a really great thing to do. It's not too hard to do, but let's go back now to the article. And the article has to be a good article. And what does that really mean? Well, the first thing it has to be as useful. So when somebody reads it, you're telling them something they don't know, or you're ordering the information in a certain way that is helpful. But there could be a problem here because, let's say, for example, you're an accountant and you have a website and you have all this useful information on this website in the form of articles. But what about if all your competitors in your city have all this information too? So not only do you have to have useful information, it also has to be somehow unique. And a good way to do this is how you structure the information. So let's say, for example, I have a surf school. I teach surfing, and I write an article, how to surf better. Well, am I going to open up that article? So let's use numbers. Numbers are a great way to write an article. So 5 ways you can surf better. Okay, that's a bit more interesting. So I open up the article, and the first point, number 1, is always stretch before you go for a surf. Well, I know that's a bit boring, so I move on. Second tip is always wax your board. Yes, I know that. Third one is what stretching exercises to do when you're not surfing. Okay, that's interesting. So I read that one. And because these are 5 ways to surf better, it's structured more so I can skip through 1 and 2, get to 3, and maybe skip through 4 and 5. So that's better for me as the customer because you're not wasting my time. So other examples are mistakes. 5 mistakes I've made when I've learnt surfing, the pros and cons of surfing a long board, not a short board, examples of how to body surf better, 5 examples of how to body surf better. So using numbers in articles can be really helpful because remember, on the internet, people don't really read that much. They're more so scanning for information. So if you're going to make articles really long with no structure, it's not really going to attract people to read the article. So by making an article short, you're cutting out the fluff. It's going to make articles a lot more attractive to people. And also by using the numbers, say 5 ways to surf better, you're sort of cutting that into 5 different articles and people can skip ahead if they need to. A lot of the problems with articles is they're written by writers. And the problem with writers is writers like to write, and writers can maybe get caught up in making things sound good rather than getting to the point. So as a business owner, if you write articles, just remember it's not that hard. All you have to do is basically sit down and just start writing. And if you can write for a minute, that's great. If you can write for an hour, that's great too. Don't worry too much about how it sounds. You can always clean that up later, or you can pay someone else like a writer to clean it up later. And just be careful when you're writing. Remember, you're being helpful. You're not persuading. There's a lot of articles on websites on the internet where they're not really being helpful. They're explaining to the customer how they can sell their service to someone, how you can use my service. And that's not really, that's bias. That's me explaining how to use a service, my service. That's not helpful. That's selling. So remember, you have to try and be unbiased. I know it's a difficult thing to do because you want to get somebody's money, but trying to be unbiased and giving the objective truth is really going to paint you as an expert. And a good way to think about this is imagine you're in school. And when you're in school, for example, when you learnt about history, the teacher didn't say to you, this is a really good thing that happened a long time ago, and make a judgment call on it. They just explain it to you in an unbiased way. That's what teaching is. It's not about selling something. So when you're making all this information, whether it's articles or videos, remember, try not to sell and always check yourself and just try to help people. Tell things to people they don't know. Don't sell. Because if you read an article and at the end of that article, for example, 5 ways to surf better, it might say the best way to surf is using a surfboard and use lots of surf wax. And then at the end of the article, if I say to you, and I've got a surf shop and I sell those types of surfboards and I sell that type of surf wax, well, the first thing you're going to think to yourself is, was that actually the best way to learn surfing, or was that whole article, that whole video, just to prime me up to try and get you to go to my shop to give you my money? So be really careful about persuasion there. Persuasion, it's really easy for persuasion to creep in all types of strange little ways. So just try and be like a school teacher and teach people in an unbiased way. And just before we end this video, I have to share something with you like I've done before. I bought this album, Sonic Youth, Jet Set and Trash, I forget the title of it. And when I bought it years ago, it was in a cellophane packet, so it was in plastic, and I got it home, I unwrapped it, and guess what? See-through blue vinyl. How's that? How cool is that? Yes, just wanted to share that with you. And that's all for this video. There'll be another video coming up next. Have a great full day.